that insurers have been using AI technology for years to sort of help with automation and efficiency, but what's driving the shift now toward agentic AI in particular?
Yeah, I think the move to agentic AI kind of captures two themes. One that's more business-oriented, one that's more technical-oriented. From the business angle, it's really the move from generative AI technologies to be able to allow you to distill information more effectively and make better insights into business to ones that can actually act on your behalf. Essentially, the difference between being able to kind of chat with an insurance policy to understand coverage to a process that actually allows you to understand your customer, understand the regulations that they work within, understand the risks that they're trying to insure, what's the best policies, and then actually go execute that. And so it's the desire to turn some of these generative AI technologies into something that is more independent and kind of helps take more action on behalf of the business. The second part is really sort of the technology about how we got there. As insurers have been using generative AI technology over the last 3 or 4 years, what they've understood is to build applications that are truly successful, instead of asking general artificial intelligence to kind of solve big problems, actually it's much more effective to break those problems into smaller tasks and then use the ability of generative AI to work with unstructured information and more interactive human components to actually break those down into smaller components and then chain them together into a workflow. And so in that process, I mentioned about sort of figuring out what the right policy to recommend and then sort of execute. Instead of just asking one large language model, do that for me beginning to end, the results there haven't been so great. But when you actually break that process down into smaller steps, ground it with very specific information to those subtopics of how do I validate a customer is actually insured by me? How do I understand sort of what the claim they're trying to process is? How do I make sure the required documentations? By breaking those into individual steps and then having those agents essentially work with each other to kind of get to the end in the process yields a much more effective results and has allowed insurers to automate and get real benefits from a much broader part of the process than they have before. Along with that comes sort of the technology standards to allow those agents to work with each other more effectively, both inside the enterprise, but also with third parties, right? And so you're seeing sort of the ability to actually leverage generative AI in a larger scale than ever before and leverage some of the components that other people have built within your own workflow process. So it's a very exciting time for firms to get more value from the technology much more quickly.
You've been watching a sneak peek of the Insuring Cyber Podcast. Click on the link in the description to listen to the full episode.